All right, guys, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man. 1993 is always coming in at you for another live review of Monday Night Raw, the February 26, 2018 episode of Monday Night Raw, which is the fallout show from the Elimination Chamber 2018 pay-per-view. This took place, of course, in Anaheim, California. As always, we're going to go back and just look at, what all happened on this show, as now Raw is just solely focused on the road to WrestleMania 34, which takes place on April 8th, 2018 at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, brother, in Louisiana, New Orleans. Wow, in New Orleans, Louisiana. Overall, what are my thoughts on this show? I could say this show was solid in some ways, but in other ways, it felt a little weird at times. There were some things that were not terrible. Well, some things that were off in storytelling, yeah. But some things were just a little weird. Like, I'm just like, okay. So I wouldn't say overall it wasn't a bad show. Were some things coming better? Definitely. But some things were just weird. I'm just like, what? Where is this coming from? And I'll also be saying, after I do this live review, WWE Turn Alert will be making its return. I'm going to film 2 Turn Alerts tonight. They're both not really, solid turns. I feel like that they're fully solid, not fully explained yet. But I will still do videos of them because I do actually miss doing Turn Alert. And plus, also, I think it's time, at least it's clear that this person is this and this person is this. Even though I feel like this could be just momentarily for both of these turns that we do. But anyways, getting into the show tonight. The show will place again from Anaheim, California. Again, we're now on the road to WrestleMania 34. There's nothing else in between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania for Raw. So now Raw is solely focused on WrestleMania, while SmackDown, we still have Fastlane. But we could begin a good addition to Fastlane later on, we talk about shortly here in this show. But let's get right into it. So we started off the show with something a little bit different. Alexa Bliss was making her way down to the ring, and Mickie James, though, came out with her. Now, here's the thing. Mickie James was being like, Alexa Bliss, like kissing rear end to Mickie James once the Elimination Chamber build started. Even though, as I keep saying, the biggest problem I had was the week it was first announced that there would be a women's Elimination Chamber match. Alexa wasn't on the show, and she tweeted out and said that she was going to be cool with her being in this match. But in the following week on Raw, though, she was upset about it, which, again, that's all makes sense, but I can't take away. I thought Alexa had a good performance inside the chamber last night. But then she was kissing up to Mickie James, which didn't really play in any effect, really, in the chamber match because Mickie was eliminated by Bayley, which was before Alexa came out. So that pretty much took her ally. But they're still together. And I'm a little confused because Mickie didn't really do anything other than just, be a heel wrestler in this segment. So anyways, Alexa comes out with Mickie. And she gets on the microphone. She talks about how last night's a historical moment and how when he thought it was impossible, she amazed herself. We had no idea how amazing it feels to know that she retained her title by winning the first ever women's Elimination Chamber. Not only did she defy the odds, she set the new standard, and people will be talking about her victory for years and years to come. She says she's not selfish. She likes to give credit where it's due, which she went to Mickie, and she showed the entire world while she's a 6-time women's champion, future Hall of Famer, and she knows their friendship's been rough, but she learned a lot from her and knows the rest of the women can as well. This brings the champion to the rest of her opponents, starting for the 2 members of Absolution, which are Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, saying that you have good futures, just not while she's a champ. Sasha Banks and Bayley, Bayley, she has some harsh words with her, but she doesn't want to be that kind of person. But she just calls Bayley a sad situation, which the way Bayley had been booked the past year, up until, the build to this chamber, lately with the heat between her and Sasha, been better. But for a while, Alexa was pretty much right. Bayley was a sad situation. There was a lot of truth spoken in several promos we got tonight. And then Sasha Banks. It comes down to her being the worst characteristic, her massive ego. And this is her year. And this is why she is going to WrestleMania. She points at this sign and she just cracks up saying that how she always wanted to do it, even though she did go to WrestleMania last year's champion, though. But that wasn't solid right away because she did lose the title to Naomi at first at Elimination Chamber until they made Naomi relinquish because they weren't sure if she was going to be ready for WrestleMania. But anyways, I feel like compared to how she's going to feel 6 weeks from now when she breaks Asuka's streak. And speaking of break, Nia left Asuka in a pile of wreckage, and she'll regret winning that match because she cannot wait to finish the job. Even though the thing is Asuka still has not said who she's going to be facing at WrestleMania. She can face Charlotte and she can face Alexa now. She never said for sure who she's going to face, and it's someone drives me a little nuts that they're not doing that. But it's just so weird how because they keep going with it. It's okay, Asuka never made for sure, but then out came Asuka, and she didn't look like if you didn't watch Elimination Chamber last night, you would not have known that Asuka came out. I mean, that Asuka was beaten down after the match by Nia Jax. She came out there like nothing happened. I mean, I don't want to say you don't want to make Asuka look weak and beaten up, but you could have sold some type of injury, I feel, from what happened last night. Asuka came out, and she's not healthy and she's not fooling anyone. She watched the match and thought that Nia would definitely be added to the WrestleMania match where she deserves to be. But one tiny mishap and it was over. She tells Asuka in slow, simple words that she knows her English isn't great, but her body language is saying different, which once again, kind of true because Asuka, great wrestler, but her English isn't really the strongest. But of course, Alexa was poking fun at her. Bliss tells her to wipe the smile off her face where she does, and she turns out to be Nia Jax. But then Nia comes out, and then Alexa and Mickey, and then Asuka lays out Alexa and Mickey, but Nia comes in and just beats her down. She reverses to a triangle choke, but then Mickey and Alexa attack again, which again just makes no sense because wasn't Mickey just weeks ago helping the baby faces, with Absolution? I still don't get into why, Mickey's still with it. There was no really turn, there's no explanation as to why Mickey is now a heel all of a sudden. But then this was even more weird because both Bayley and Sasha came out to save Asuka. And they clear Mickey and Alexa out, but then they came back in and the heels were standing, and I thought, okay, maybe that's it. But it says us for a 6-woman tag match. It was just strange again because why did Bayley and Sasha come out? I mean, besides the fact that yes, Alexa did call Bayley a sad situation and then just called out Sasha for her ego. But why did they come out there to save Asuka? And once again, as I said before, Asuka has not made the decision yet on who she wants to face. So to me, it's weird. And this whole thing with Mickey, I mean, I like Mickey, but why is she a heel again? Why is she siding with Alexa? It just seems as Alexa just kissing up to her, but now Mickey is just why is she siding with Alexa to give fresh opponents because there's nobody else? Seriously, right now, it could be down to 2 soon. There's only 3 women, and possibly just 2 women on Raw that are baby faces. Most of the women on the main roster are heels, and that's why we're having terrible times here trying to build up women's matches with their divisions because it's 75-80% heels, 25-20% faces. Why? It was just weird. But then we had the 6-woman tag matches. You can't get enough of those. The match was decent. What I liked most about this match, though, was the storytelling, of course. And the big moment there, because, they were mentioning, last night that, there had been tension between Sasha Banks and Bayley. And last night, Sasha pulled Bayley up on seemed like she was going to help her up onto the pod, but then kicked her off. And it was just a recent tension between the two of them. You know, it got to Bayley, and and Sasha just started going at it inside the chamber. Although they didn't eliminate each other from the match. We had there was a moment where Bayley was like, you know, I think she had hold of whoever she was fighting in their corner. Sasha tagged herself in. And then later on, though, when it came time for Sasha to try to tag in Bayley, Bayley snubbed her and jumped off the rope and just stepped back. Now, the thing was, though, when Asuka came in, though, Bayley helped Asuka, but she didn't help Sasha, and she kept her distance from Sasha. So at first I thought, okay, Sasha's been the one who's been showing more heel tactics lately. You know, it's probably, you know, it's continuing, you know, Bayley's finally just standing up for herself, saying, hey, you're not going to mess around me anymore or take me for granted anymore by us being friends. But then I went to some Fallout videos I saw online. First, it was Sasha Banks saying she doesn't want to talk about what just happened, and she kept going. She didn't want to be bothered. So I'm like, okay. But then Bayley's was more interesting. Bayley was asked, you know, about explaining her actions, and she just went on just to talk about the match and, you know, how they were going up against, you know, three of the best competitors, Alexa, Nia, and Mickey. And then how, you know, she's like, you know, Asuka got the win as she always does, and our team won. And Mike Rome was like, Bayley, that wasn't my question. Like, can you explain your actions towards what happened with Sasha? And Bayley just goes, I have my reasons. And she just walked away. Now, as I said, probably in one of my videos last week, it was advertised for a house show. John Cena and Nikki Bella sometime in March, which I don't know if Nikki Bella is going to be back or not. But it's John Cena and Nikki Bella taking on the team of Elias and Bayley, who were partners for the Mixed Match Challenge. But there have been some rumors heating up more, though, about Bayley being a heel. So it was interesting, but I don't know which direction they're going. I don't know if Sasha's going to be the heel or if Bayley's going to be the heel. But either way, though, it was definitely an interesting move. The match itself was decent. It's just still weird because again, Asuka didn't make her final decision on who she's going to face. She was given the choice. She never said, I'm facing the Raw Women's Champion. Unless if, you know, somehow, what if, I mean, I know I keep saying I want it to be Charlotte and Asuka, but with the brands of the pay-per-views being dropped, what if maybe, you know, Asuka wins the Raw Women's Championship before WrestleMania and she challenges Charlotte and they merge the women's titles together or something like that. Or, and I don't know if that's going to work. I mean, I would want to see, you know, the tag titles do the same thing, but the problem is it seems like the Bludgeon Brothers are going to probably win the tag titles at WrestleMania 34, in my opinion, right now. Since the Usos are taking on the New Day at WrestleMania. Trent Mitchell, what's up? He said John Cena, though. We'll get to him shortly. But I definitely did like something to do with Cena tonight. But again, it's weird. Again, the stuff with Mickey, I just don't understand why is Mickey still all of a sudden deciding with Alexa again. You know, they shouldn't have split them up as early as they did last year. I mean, I thought, you know, they could have had them together until their feud at TLC, but now they're back together again. It's just strange. Oh well, but we got that. We had John Cena make his entrance, and yes, he showed a little bit of, you know, his usual John Cena, like, you know, never giving up, you know, whatnot, firing himself up, but not that much. He seemed he was a little off. And based off of what we saw last night with Cena losing, he kept saying leading up to this pay-per-view that he feels like if he didn't win the Elimination Chamber, he felt that his path to WrestleMania was unknown for the first time in 15 years. I keep saying that's somewhat not true, though, because he was not there for WrestleMania 32 due to his, he wasn't really on WrestleMania 32 due to his rotator cuff injury, but he did appear and save The Rock from the Wyatt family. But he still didn't really have like a path to WrestleMania, if you know what I mean. He comes out there and he mentions how last night he failed in a moment of failure. He was immediately rushed into a room and thrown in front of a microphone, and he felt demoralized. Failure is tough, and judging by the sound of the arena tonight, he can tell that you go through failure alone, which is true. He said before, a person's character isn't judged by success. It's when you're tested with, and your back is against the wall. And for him, that time is now. His back, yes, definitely is against the wall. He spent 5 minutes last night feeling sorry for himself, but he started moving forward. His last words last night's were he will figure his road to WrestleMania out. He thought it'd be the Royal Rumble. That did not work. But he then thought it'd be Elimination Chamber. He failed again. He thought it was over 5 minutes. Everybody can relate to this. You feel like it's over. And that's why no other WWE superstar will step into the ring and say it out loud for everyone to hear that he failed. You can hear it at home because when you say you failed, it's your fault and you go through it alone. Failure gives you two choices: stay down or get up. And he's getting up and he's figuring it out. He needs to stand in this ring and plain old do something he should have done a long time ago. And that's put out a WrestleMania challenge. And I'm like, okay, who's going to be? And he said, and it's been rumored, to The Undertaker. I'm just like, so we're really going to do this. And I keep saying, John Cena versus The Undertaker WrestleMania. I am not opposed to it as long as there's a story to follow up from last year, which needs to happen. Because just Undertaker wrestling again after Roman Reigns supposedly retired him and Roman's not even going to do anything about it, that wouldn't make any sense. But also if Taker is healthy enough. I just question if Taker's health is there for him to continue to be doing this. I just don't want to see anything happen to Taker. Because last year, the worst I saw Taker look was at WrestleMania 30. He did not look in good shape at all that night. 31, not bad. 32, not bad either. Last year, had a little bit of a gut. So he probably wasn't in the best health, but I'd say not as bad as WrestleMania 30. But as long as Taker can healthy enough to wrestle, he says there have been 39 WrestleManias between the two of them combined. They've never stood face to face on the grand stage of them all. But he said, unfortunately, though, that match is not happening. He can't make matches, and he's been told that the match isn't happening because it is impossible, which is him implying that the Undertaker can't wrestle. So I'm like, okay, so now if the Undertaker would come back to wrestle, if healthy enough, we have somewhat of a story that people are doubting he can go one more time. Since John Cena did challenge him to a match. I'm like, okay, even though, Roman Reigns, I'm sure would have something to say about that. But it's somewhat a little bit better, but yeah. He said, but now you guys all understand my disappointment though. And he's in getting up and he's in the getting up business. So he says his road WrestleMania is gonna go straight through SmackDown. He's a free agent. He's going to go to SmackDown tomorrow, not to beg or to get some pity handout, but to do whatever it takes to earn a spot at WrestleMania. He flips my phone and says, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. So I like this because for the first time, it's not just seeing us, he's just been on Raw ever since he was the free agent. He's done nothing but being on Raw. But now he's using his free agent status and he's going over to SmackDown. And now, like we've been hearing some rumors, I know some of my viewers have been also, that John Cena is advertised for Fastlane. So what I'm thinking should happen, he goes to SmackDown, he challenges Shinsuke Nakamura to the match at Fastlane, and Shinsuke puts his number one contendership for the WWE Championship on the line against AJ Styles, and they had the match. That's the match I thought that Shinsuke and Randy Orton would have. The only thing is, though, is that we've already seen Shinsuke and Cena, though. But I still think we still get a good match out of it. And it will help at least, make Fastlane somewhat watchable. Because right now, really isn't that interesting to me, in my opinion. But I think this could be a great addition if it is John Cena challenging Shinsuke Nakamura. And, yep. So we'll see what happens. When John Cena appears on SmackDown Live tomorrow night. I look forward to seeing what happens as well. We have Bray Wyatt that make his entrance. It was supposed to be a match against Heath Slater, but before the bell can ring, he attacks Slater, and then he also attacks Rhino. Also, he hits a few Uranagis. He had Sister Abigail on Heath Slater. He also had another Sister Abigail on Rhino, which apparently was not seen on screen. He gets on the microphone and he talks about Matt Hardy making him hurt these innocent men. He led them to slaughter, and the great war is far from over. Hardy will face him again. This time, he'll make sure his woken eyes stay shut forever. He's coming for you, Hardy. Run. So it's pretty obvious that we kind of knew that Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are most likely going to have some type of like a final deletion match or something like that at WrestleMania, which I think, and I'm saying I'm positive, but I feel that this feud could get a little more interesting because this feud started. I personally feel they may have started this feud a little too early, even though I'm pretty sure if it didn't, we would all be constantly saying how Matt Hardy feels directionless and he's not really going anywhere. But now I think of it, like now that it's happened, I feel the reason why this feud has been feeling a little lackluster is because they're trying to get to WrestleMania, but it doesn't quite have the build, the length, the time they had is just too long in between. So I'm hoping with this like a big gimmick type match, it's probably gonna have either like a final deletion match. Please do not do House of Horrors again. Please do not do House of Horrors. But some type of weird match, and the mind games are going to increase between Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt as we will get the match at WrestleMania. Who will win? I'm not sure. Probably Matt, because Bray doesn't win at WrestleMania, but you know, Matt could use a nice win at WrestleMania also. I checked here. We saw Trent Mitchell, Raw 25. He looked decent. Not too bad. I think it's a build-up. Could be. I mean, we'll see what happens because I don't see Cena, though, being Nakamura. I just do kind of hope it's not Cena and Elias. Didn't have any build tonight because, I mean, again, I like Elias, but as I keep saying, I just don't think he's ready for a big marquee match yet. I mean, he'll probably be in the Honor to Giant Royal Battle Royal, whatever, but I just don't think he's ready for a big match against Cena yet because I don't want to see him lose to Cena at WrestleMania. In my honest opinion, I got a Snapchat from my sister. I will look at that later. But anyways, we see the Miz walking back to his Miz Trudge, and we're being informed the A-listers are going to find out who his WrestleMania opponent is going to be after the break. And the Miz came out, and he cut a pretty darn good promo. As I keep saying, the Miz speaks so much truth, and he's so like convincing when he spits fire in his promos, and it makes me more and more a fan of him. He gets on the microphone, he's talking about how we're on the road to WrestleMania, and it's weird because, you know, we're in Anaheim when LA is so close. He could try to pitch his next movie to Michael Bay, but instead he's stuck in a bona fide suburb where you're lucky you can stand in line long enough to take a picture with a guy dressed like Donald Duck, which I thought he was going to say Donald Trump, but he said Donald Duck. But he's not surprised. Kurt Angle takes his stars for granted, and in 62 days, he'll become the longest-reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. In fact, he's the greatest. He's not mentioned all the people he'd be considered better than. As a big star, he's in the ring even. He's even bigger outside of it, of the anchor of the Marine. He goes on to, you know, rave about, you know, his movies and whatnot. But he says all these accolades, he's still treated like any other superstar, or even worse, he doesn't have any merchandise. He should be going on the main event of WrestleMania, and he'll repeat that, and he should be taking on Brock Lesnar one-on-one to become the first man to hold the Universal and Intercontinental title at the same time. But Kurt forced him to start the Elimination Chamber match with two men who shouldn't have been there in the first place. He handed Finn Balor and Seth Rollins opportunities they didn't deserve, and he was punished for winning his qualifying match. He doesn't care about what happens to the other guys in the chamber because he knows his WrestleMania dream lives on since he holds the IC title. And he also went on to call Balor and Rollins has-beens. I believe he also called them also. He wants us to take a good look at it and holds the title high, declaring the most prestigious title in the WWE. And he has a title. He went to Kurt's office and said, Kurt, I want to know what the Intercontinental title, Intercontinental Champions in WrestleMania. And Kurt told him apparently his opponent tonight might determine who he faces at WrestleMania. And Miz just freaks out about the idea of him saying might. Like, what do you mean might? I've been here for 12 years, and might is all he's going to get. Whomever comes out is going to get a beating, and he doesn't care who it is. Now, when he said that, I thought at first it was going to be Braun Strowman. And I'm like, because I really didn't want to see Braun Strowman fight The Miz. I mean, it would be a good match, but not at WrestleMania. The Miz versus Braun Strowman. Like, I would love to see Braun Strowman just beat the crap out of The Miz, but I was hoping for either Seth Rollins or Finn Balor, because I predicted that match in my predicted match card. I feel that they could also put on a good triple threat, and it could also elevate a story for after WrestleMania, even if they move both Rollins and Balor to SmackDown, as rumors are speculating that it may possibly happen. Where they have them feud, because Balor can say how Rollins is just getting in his way all the time, and he was the one who cost them his Universal title and whatnot. But actually, it wasn't Strowman. It was indeed Seth Rollins, Monday Night Rollins, as they call it. And also, I put in my order for the "Burn It Down" T-shirt yesterday, and it should be arriving later this week. So again, I keep giving the plug for it. Expect an unboxing video later this week. We had a match between Seth Rollins and The Miz, which I thought, match-wise, this was the best match of the night, no doubt about it. I thought these two put on a really good match, with Rollins just continue to pick up that momentum ever since that great performance in the Gauntlet match last week. I was loving it. The Miz rushed out ringside. They didn't do too much to distract Rollins. My favorite spot of this match, though, of course, was The Miz was down. I think Rollins had hit him with the ripcord knee strike, and The Miz went down. I thought he was going to hit the curb stomp on The Miz, but he didn't. However, though, Miz was all the way on the other, like 3/4 on the other side of the ring. Okay, Rollins is going to get up, to the closest pole nearby and do a frog splash or something like that, or a sunset flip. No, Rollins went to the opposing post and jumped 3/4 across the ring for a frog splash. Great tribute to Eddie Guerrero, I should say, for one heck of a finish. I was just like, there's no way. There is no way Rollins is going to hit him from that far away. And sure enough, though, he did. And I'm just like, holy crap. So Rollins wins, and it's pretty obvious now he deserves a title match against The Miz at WrestleMania. But then, however, Finn Balor comes out, and Seth leaves and just just looks at him. He's just like, whatever, I don't know what you're doing here. So we had a match between Finn Balor and The Miz. Well, it was supposed to be a match at first, but then The Miz Taraj started beating down on Finn. Well, actually, at first, technically Balor and Miz had two matches. Technically, the first one, Balor won by disqualification. The Balor Club, Gallows and Anderson, came out, but then they started attacking Dallas and Axel. But then Kurt comes on the Titantron and he bans Gallows and Anderson and the Miz Taraj from ringside, and orders Balor and Miz to restart, and says if there's no winner, the Miz will not be going to WrestleMania. So they have a match, not as good as the match they had with Miz and Rollins, but it was still not too bad of a match. Balor eventually does win though with the coup de grace. So it seems like, I know people thought it was weird that Kurt Angle would just throw The Miz into two random matches, and the Intercontinental Champion lost both times. This is like, you feel sympathy for Miz because, he didn't have time to prepare. But same time, remember, he did somewhat, call out Seth Rollins and Finn Balor and like poke fun at them, and was said something rude about him. And with The Miz, constantly pushed the buttons of the general manager or whatnot. Obviously, he's going to say, okay, you think they're has-beens? Then you asked for it. So wrestle both these has-beens and see what you can do. So there's somewhat of a story there. But then after Balor wins, Seth is backstage being interviewed, and he says he doesn't know what Finn Balor was trying to prove being a guy he just beat. You want to prove you're the man? You last 65 minutes in a gauntlet match like he did. Ask about his WrestleMania. He admits he came up short last night, but says he's learned there's more than one road to WrestleMania. And if history's an indicator, he knows how to pave his way. He wants The Miz for the IC title at WrestleMania. So it looks like we probably are going to be getting a triple threat match between The Miz, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. And I can guarantee you guys that is going to be one heck of a match. You remember last, say mid to late May, because it was the build up for Extreme Rules. There was a triple threat match for the #1 contendership for the IC title between these three. One heck of a match. One of the best matches of the year. And I think that could be a great opening match to the main show for WrestleMania 34. I cannot wait to see it. I hope we do get it. So I'd say, yes, it was weird. Again, I know I even thought it was weird at first, with The Miz having to randomly face and lose to two people that, are worthwhile, stars to get an opportunity for the Intercontinental title. However, though, as I said before, The Miz pretty much, poked fun at them and just, said things that he said, pretty much, saying that they're has-beens or whatnot. And with him just being, running his mouth all the time, Kurt Angle pretty much said, well, you think they're has-beens, then prove you can beat them both or whatever. I mean, they could have waited and had one other match next week. I get it, but Oh, Rob, what's up, man? So Mickey James is a heel now. I will be talking about that. And yes, as he also tweeted this to me earlier and said, if Teddy Long was running WWE, he'd be like, tonight we're gonna have ourselves a 6-woman tag team match, playa. Holla, holla, holla. Yep, pretty much, Robbie, because that's all we get anymore from the women's division is just 6-woman tag matches. Yay! Oh well. But yeah, and then we had this. Now, a lot of people, of course, weren't looking forward to this, but I'll give it to the person involved. I thought this was good. It's strange, but it was good. Roman Reigns came out. Of course, he did not come out to a good reception. He was booed like crazy because we all knew this was coming. Roman Reigns was getting yet another main event opportunity at WrestleMania 34. Well, for the 30-year WrestleMania. And, of course, the contract's talking about, there is some unfinished business between Roman and Brock based off of Seth Rollins cashing at WrestleMania 31. All right. I mean, they want to sell things one-on-one. Okay, cool. Roman comes out, though. And at first, for a brief moment, I felt like it was just like what happened the night after WrestleMania 33 when he retired The Undertaker. Until he started talking, and he says he's a man of his word. He said he was going to do Elimination Chamber, and he did. So when he says he's going to WrestleMania and he can beat Brock Lesnar, he's telling the truth. The truth is a funny word, though, and he doesn't know why he's covering for this guy. You want to know the truth? I didn't really think of this, but I really thought Brock was showing up tonight with Paul Heyman, but he goes this far, and this got a little personal, I felt, but it was great. It's something I enjoyed, and it already made me feel better about the build to this match and the build to match at WrestleMania 31. He said, the truth is Brock Lesnar's not here tonight. I'm like, what? Are you serious? He says, up until about 30 minutes ago, he thought Brock was going to be here. But something happened, and he didn't show. Nobody in the back will say this, but he will. Brock Lesnar is an entitled piece of crap who hides behind his contract, which I'm like, that pretty much is true. Yeah. Think about it. We're 6 weeks before WrestleMania, and the Universal Champion isn't here. Last night, he was in Vegas, but was he at the Chamber? Nope. He was running up and down the strip taking photos with Dana White from UFC. Why? Because he doesn't respect Roman. He doesn't respect the fans, and he doesn't respect anyone in the locker room, and they're sick of it. Every week, they bust their ass, and Brock just shows up when he wants, when the city's right, or the money's right. It doesn't matter how big the city is. If Roman says he'll be there, he'll be there. Brock and Paul, they'll come out here and say they're businessmen. But guess what? He was born in this business. Roman's talking about himself here. This business is his bloodline, and he was taught early that there's a fine line between business and respect. He'll say it right now. He doesn't respect Brock Lesnar, and he damn sure doesn't fear that bitch. I'm like, dang. He says he thinks he's said enough, and he's going to go to the back and take his ass chewing like a man because unlike some people, he actually cares about and respects this place. To me, it was not too short, but it felt brief. And it wasn't some corny little fairy tale that Roman would share a couple years ago when his build to WrestleMania 31. To me, here's the thing. I know a lot of fans, and yes, Roman spoke a lot of truth. And yes, I get it. It could have been somebody else saying that about Brock. Because it is true, with Brock Lesnar's contract, coming up soon, and it was like he's most likely not going to stay, which at this point, I'm kind of I've seen all I need to see for Brock. I just don't think there's anything really left for him to do in the WWE. But it's all true. As I mentioned in my top 10 topics video last week, Brock Lesnar only shows up so many times a year despite him being champion, and he doesn't have to care about the 30-day rule. It just doesn't make sense. Where like guys like Roman and them are there busting their tails almost every single week, how many times a year, spending so much time away from their families and whatnot. So here's the thing. It's weird. Again, in the ways I'm saying, no, yes, I'm pretty sure, fans would rather be hearing somebody else than Roman Reigns saying that because of the position Roman Reigns is in. But in my opinion, I'm not worried about Roman Reigns for this match at WrestleMania. The thing is, and yes, I know some people think, people only enjoy the match at WrestleMania if they're only because of Seth. Personally, take Seth out of the equation. I still thought Roman and Brock had a good match. The thing is, though, the person I'm worried about more for this match at WrestleMania is Brock. Because, let me see here. Let's look back at Brock Lesnar's matches since he returned to WWE. He lost to John Cena, but that was still a good match. He looked like someone who was about to destroy you. Just few matches with Triple H, they were all right, but not the best. But they were still good, acceptable. Match with CM Punk, classic. SummerSlam 2013, a classic. Royal Rumble, he had a match with The Big Show. That wasn't really that great. His match with The Undertaker, it was all right. But again, it didn't. Brock, still the momentum was still there, and Brock still felt like a legitimate dominating big badass. Of course, he dominated John Cena at SummerSlam 2014. He looked good against Cena at Night of Champions. And then, though, we didn't see him again, though, until the Royal Rumble pay-per-view when he faced Cena and Rollins in that amazing classic of a triple threat match. And then we had him in Roman, which that match, again, not including with Rollins cashing in, I still think was a good, physical, hard-hitting match. And it looked like, they were both beating the living crap out of each other. And I enjoyed it. After that, when did he fight again? Oh, yeah. Him and Rollins at Battleground. That was more of an angle just to set up his match with Taker. His matches with Taker, though, SummerSlam and Hell in a Cell. Great matches. I enjoyed them. I don't think he was at... He was in the Royal Rumble match, but anytime he's been in the Royal Rumble match, it doesn't last too long. But then WrestleMania 32 came, and he had this match with Dean Ambrose, that no-holds-barred street fight, which I thought was going to just tear the house down, literally bring out, the Jon Moxley in Dean Ambrose, because he used all those weapons. The weapons were barely used, and Ambrose came out on Stone Cold's podcast or whatever and straight up said, it was frustrating because, Brock didn't really want to do anything. He really didn't. And that's why the match was just dull and a big letdown. That's one of those matches where Brock just didn't really seem like he cared. And then I don't think we saw Brock again. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Brock also was in a match, the triple threat match at Fastlane with him, Reigns, and Ambrose. But Brock didn't do it. He was just double team most of the time. But SummerSlam, his matches, Orton, could have been better. He also had a match. Oh, the matches with Goldberg were good. I'll give him that. But then they put the Universal title on him. I still think that match with Goldberg and Lesnar didn't need the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. The match was still good. The feud was good for what it was. But it didn't need the Universal title. Brock having this year-long Universal title reign has been... But then he had a good match with Samoa Joe at Great Balls of Fire. It could have been better, but it was still a fun, short little match. The Fatal 4-Way at SummerSlam was amazing, but we had other people in the match as well. The match with him and Braun at No Mercy was a huge disappointment. The match with him and Styles I thought was good. But the match at Royal Rumble, not too fazed by it. So my point is this: Brock just sometimes seems like he just doesn't care anymore. He has the money, he doesn't care. So I don't trust Brock to want to put on a good match here, to get to my point. I think I know Roman can put on a good match, but Brock is the one I don't trust. But once again, I know this match of Mania is going to be crapped on. But I still think if Brock can care, these two can still put on a pretty darn good match. And either way, if for some reason Braun Strowman, which as of tonight doesn't look like it, but if somehow Braun Strowman can get added to this Universal title match, if it turns to a triple threat match, which I'm kind of not completely for this one because I don't want to see too many in no triple threats or fatal four ways at WrestleMania. I just don't like seeing like too many multiple person matches. Either way, though, Brock has to be the one be pinned. Probably a triple threat between Roman, Brock, and Braun, and just like Braun pins Roman. Like somebody needs to pin Brock because Brock is just about done getting out of here. I don't know what the heck that means. But anyways, getting back to the show. But yeah, so then we had Braun Strowman on a Handycam promo. We're getting those these days, he's saying. And he says he may not have won the chamber, but he saved us all from Elias's noise pollution. And tonight he's going to perform a symphony of destruction and have himself a smash hit. Because it's all about that bass with Braun Strowman. Oh, that big bass. That was hilarious. I love that. We got that later on. But then we had this match. It was the Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro taking on Titus Worldwide and yet another Raw Tag Team Championship match. This time it was 2 out of 3 falls. Because apparently, this story was weird. This was apparently on Twitter, Cesaro and Sheamus mentioned something about beating them and them having their numbers. But then I guess Titus Worldwide was like, no, we've had your numbers. We beat you guys 3 times already or whatever it was. So to say we're having a 2 out of 3 falls match. Random, but I mean, I think their match they had last night at Chamber was their best one. This one, I think, was their second best, despite the weird storytelling of them winning 2 falls to nothing. Because to me, Titus Worldwide was getting some momentum going as a tag team, but then tonight it's lost 2 to nothing. But it wasn't like, well, okay, the first fall it was Cesaro distracting Titus and then getting fed to a bro kick for the first fall. I thought it was weird, but I'm just like, I don't know. It was another good physical match, but for a 2 out of 3 falls match, it wasn't executed well, in my opinion. But as a match itself, it wasn't too bad. The Bar win again. Afterwards, they cut this promo saying how Titus Worldwide thought they had their number, but now it is 0, and Cesaro wants you to stop him if you've heard it before. 2 men walk into the bar, and that's the entire joke. Just like that's New Day, Hardy's, Shield. Well, they never really beat the Shield. And not to forget about what they did to Jason Jordan. Well, okay, the Shield, I'm sorry. The Shield are referring to Dean Ambrose's arm falling off because of Dean Ambrose's arm injury. And they said, well, we did Jason Jordan. But with WrestleMania season full swing, everyone wants to be part of the show. But Sheamus thinks the 2 of them will be punished for being so dominant. Who's there to face? No one left to beat. They don't just set the bar. They are the bar, which is true. Who's next for the Revival? I mean, at least SmackDown has some very well-established tag teams. Raw doesn't really. So I feel next should be the Revival. I don't want to see just the Bar and the Club. If it's a triple threat, though, between the Bar, the Club, and the Revival, sure. But the Revival haven't really been built as good as I hoped at this point. But we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll bring up AOP because, well, AOP, the only reason why AOP is still down at NXT is the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. But the first match in 2 weeks that they'll be having is against the guys who I'm picking to win, TM61. There's no way you're going to put all this money behind TM61 just to have them lose in the first round of Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. But we could be seeing an AOP as well. So we'll see what happens when we get to WrestleMania. This followed up with the announcement of the winner of the Warrior Award, which was Jarius J.J. Robertson, a 15-year-old boy who has had to go through 2 liver transplants, whatever it was, to live, and he's shown a lot of courage. And he, I cannot remember the hashtag, something about, it takes a life to save a life or something like that. Really good story. So congratulations to Jarius on who's going to be receiving the Warrior Award at the 2018 Hall of Fame ceremony. He now joins the class, though, with Goldberg, Ivory, the Dudley Boys, and Jeff Jarrett. I know that one's still a head scratcher. But yeah, then we come back from commercial. We have Elias playing us a song in the ring. He does his little thing saying how he wasn't going to treat himself to a performance last night, but then hear Braun Strowman call his beautiful music noise pollution. Braun criticizes him because he wants to beat him. And we all saw it 2 weeks ago. What Braun did that night was noise pollution. Every word that Corey Graves lets out of his stupid mouth is noise pollution, but his music is a gift. Elias begins his song, and he's dedicated to running Braun and the city of Anaheim down equally. All of a sudden, we get Braun making his way down to the entrance, and then Braun and Elias have a match. Wasn't anything too special, but Braun won by disqualification after Elias randomly started using a fire extinguisher. But then Braun was somehow, being able to, gain himself back. But Elias kept running away. We thought we were going to get some, big smash. But then Elias, raked the eyes of Strowman, got away. So I'm not finished with you as a black limo pulled up, which was obvious. It was Stephanie and Triple H pulling up because before the last segment we're getting tonight. So I guess Braun's not going to be in the Universal title match. If that's the case, then I am a little bit not happy about how he just beat down Roman Reigns and threw him through the pod last night after the chamber match was over with. Because now, what are you going to do with Strowman? I mean, could they maybe make it a fatal four-way for the IC title with Strowman in there? But I feel like I would rather have it just be just a triple threat. But I don't know what's going to do with Strowman. It looks like it's going to be Kurt, Ronda taking on Triple H and Stephanie. So I'm going to be honest. I'm a little bit worried that Braun Strowman may just be put back into Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. No. Last year, okay, I'll let it slide. But this year, no. Braun Strowman deserves to be in a bigger position with how much he's improved. You had him, to my correction, I said this wrong last night in my Elimination Chamber review. He eliminated 5 men in a chamber. The only people he didn't eliminate was himself and Roman Reigns, as Roman won. You're putting all this momentum on him just for him to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? With the year he just had, in my friend's opinion, mine and my friend's opinions that we had when we did our year in review awards, the best superstar, the male superstar of the year on the main roster at least, you're going to put him in just the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? It doesn't make any sense. Really, by rights, he should have been in the Universal title match. But we all knew it was going to be Roman and Brock. So again, I'm just letting it slide. Again, just have a good story and build. I'm just done complaining. I'm done letting Roman Reigns push and his bad booking ruin my wrestling experience. I'm still just trying to enjoy the show without, having Roman Reigns ruin my thing, even though I still think at times, I just need to cut the man some slack because he still does great things despite the bad booking, but he has gotten better. But anyways, I just don't get it. Why are they just, giving Braun all this momentum just to give him almost nothing to do at the biggest show of them all? It's weird. But anyways, we get there. First, we were also advertised that next we were also going to match between Asuka and Nia Jax. Don't know why. I'm sorry. If Nia Jax is put into the Raw Women's Championship match, either way, whether Asuka chooses Raw or SmackDown Women's title to face, I'm going to definitely say that match at Elimination Chamber would have been pointless because Nia still got a title opportunity anyways. But whatever. Let's get to this last thing because it was good, but I felt like the Authority also made themselves look stupid. Well, I'm sorry. They didn't call themselves the Authority this time. They just introduced us as Stephanie and Triple H. So I'm like, okay, it feels so good out here to say the Authority. But even though we saw what happened last night 3 times tonight, because we had to see it 3 times to fill time, we could have just seen it right before this segment started. But Triple H and Stephanie come out. And last night was supposed to be a celebration, but things went horribly wrong thanks to Kurt Angle. He was hallucinating, saying things that that didn't make sense, and it turns out he had double pneumonia, which is complete bullcrap. Ronda Rousey believed what he said, understandably, and took action that might be fine in MMA, but isn't tolerated in the WWE. We have the recap segment again. Stephanie says that Ronda acted out of savage instinct as she was trained. In order to relate to her, she had to speak her language to get physical to remind her of the hierarchy here in WWE. She's commissioner of Raw, and that means that Ronda now reports to her, which means WWE owns Ronda Rousey. So as a good manager, she wants to call everyone out and explain their roles and responsibilities so everyone knows their place and they can move on. It also has an apology from Kurt Angle, and she calls out Kurt to come down. But Ronda's music hits, and Ronda came out, and she had that death glare on her face. That's probably going to be the thumbnail for this review, hopefully, unless they somehow do not have it. But she had this killer look in her eyes. I'm like, oh, she's coming for her. She is coming for her. But Ronda just storms down to the ring, and Stephanie and Triple H just try to run out of the ring, but Kurt comes out right behind her, telling her to stop. And he wants to tell her one thing, that coming to WWE is the best decision she ever made. Ronda says she meant everything she said last night, and she wants it more than anything, but she's never been slapped before in her life, and she refuses to be disrespected, and she is no one's property. Standing up to Stephanie McMahon. Angle says he understands why she's upset, but this is a different world, and she has to work with the system. Honestly, he needs this job. And he says he lied last night. So I'm just like, what? He doesn't know why he lied. He copes to having pneumonia and says he doesn't remember what he said, but he lied. Stephanie says she understands why Ronda did what she did and wants to put it all behind them, which is obviously just her saying she's terrified of Ronda Rousey because Kurt spilled their secret. It's obvious that Kurt just said that to save his rear end. I'm not saying that to be mean about Kurt, but like storyline-wise, that's what he said. But Stephanie and Hunter go to try to escape, but Ronda cuts them off, saying they've addressed everything except the slap. If she wants to put this behind them, Stephanie needs to apologize to her. And if she doesn't, she won't hesitate to rip her arm out of its socket. And the crowd was chanting for the rip her arm, because who doesn't want to see Stephanie McMahon get her arm ripped off? I want to see it happen, but Stephanie is right in the face. Looks like she's about to just, do her usual yelling in the Ronda's face. But then she says she's terribly sorry she reacted. She had put Hunter through a table. There's no excuse, so she's sorry. And they're trying to, she says, welcome to WWE, and everything's good now. So they're just trying to escape. And I thought, okay, here's the thing. If you really want to throw a swerve and think that the audience really does think they're sorry, even though we all know they're not, at least just, get the heck out of the ring. But then Triple H turns around and just throws a sucker punch to Kurt Angle's jaw, and he knocks out Kurt. And Stephanie and Triple H, though, just leave. Now, I'm thinking to myself, you just had Kurt Angle pretty much try to save his job, because he knows if he admits what he said was correct, he'll be in big trouble, and he will probably lose his job. But Stephanie and Triple H, especially Stephanie, are trying just to kiss Ronda's rear end and just beg for mercy and get out of there, because she knows that Ronda can literally kill anybody. Seriously, I would love to meet Ronda Rousey, get her autograph, whatnot, but I would not want to piss her off. I know she probably would destroy me, and that's saying something. I mean, heck, she flipped over a 6'4", 250-pound man last night and put it in spine buttons through a table. I'm 6'1", 185 pounds. I'm pretty sure she can do that to me. But why would you make it that obvious? So it's that stupid that Triple H just turns around and sucker punches Kurt Angle in the face. I'm like, you should have just left us hanging a little bit more, like, okay, what really is going on here? But instead, you made it obvious, and Triple H was like, this is what you get this is what you get, and then just punched it right in the face. It's pretty much for just, for Kurt just opening up and telling the darn truth, even though Kurt, being the way he was last night, was just clearly, trying to protect Ronda. But it seems pretty obvious at this point we're going to get the mixed tag match. It'll be Kurt and Ronda taking on Triple H and Stephanie. I mean, yes, it does kind of follow up for, what Triple H did at Survivor Series, just taking out Kurt just so he can, claim his glory. But I still think that finish was weird they had there. But what do I know? I'm just a wrestling fan. But that was the show. Again, it was a little weird of a show. Some weird things, like the stuff with the women. I mean, I like the stuff, though, with Bayley and Sasha. But just the fact that, with Mickey randomly being a heel now, and Asuka not making her decision, but they're acting like she's facing Alexa. This didn't make any sense. I know stuff with the Miz fighting two people was kind of weird, but it still made sense to me. I did like the Roman promo. Him shooting on Brock because he doesn't show up, bringing this truth into this. The stuff with Triple H and Ronda and all that was not too bad, but I just still thought it was stupid to have Triple H make it obvious that there is something going on and sucker punches Kurt Angle as they were walking out. But other than that, I still thought we still had, for the most part, a decent to solid show. Let's see. Let's go to the live chat. Anybody else in the live chat? Nope, not really a good audience tonight, but that's okay. So I had 12 votes. Let me just refresh this. Let's just double check. So let me see here. So far, yeah, only 12 votes. What grade would you give for tonight's episode of Raw? 17% said A, 42% said B, 33% said C, and 8% said D. I'm going to go with a B minus. I thought this was a little better than decent. It was solid. Again, some weird things, but still, it was a good show to sit back and enjoy. We had some good stuff. So, like I say, despite the weird ending, Ronda, the stuff with Ronda and Triple H, Stephanie, and Kurt was good. I like my favorite match was definitely the Miz and Rollins. Sasha and Bayley's heat continuing to heat up, interested me a little bit. Bray Wyatt looked dominant again. Even Roman Reigns promo I did enjoy also. So we'll see what happens next week on Raw. But guys, that is it. Please be sure to click my like and subscribe for content on this channel. And if you are catching this after the review ends, make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And you may also follow me on Twitter as always at DemandAir93. Tomorrow we're going to be getting SmackDown Live review, NXT review Wednesday. Either Wednesday or Thursday, I'll be doing episode 26 for Road to WrestleMania. And then I'm sure sometime this week we'll be seeing a unboxing video, a special unboxing video for my Burn It Down t-shirt that I'm receiving in the mail this week. Also, and yes, of course, also I'm going to be recording 2 turn alerts tonight also before I go to bed. So yeah, stay tuned for all of that to come and any other odds and ends here and there. Thank you guys as always for support on this channel, and I'm checking out. So guys, again, hope you enjoyed Raw tonight also. And until then, I am tuning out now. So until then, guys, have a good night.